What's going on, everybody? Ivan here on the Iron Standard podcast with my homie Danny. What's going on, brother?
Oh, not a whole lot. Just sitting out here in beautiful Lake of the Ozarks, enjoying the day.
Yeah, man. Looks like the weather's perfect. You're all set up. Looks like you
Yeah,
popped a first form energy drink, which I'm trailing on actually today. I gotta have mine here
it's
real
number
soon.
two.
Oh, number two, huh, bro?
Uh,
Number two. Well, we're excited because we got a new guest on the podcast today, and her name is Lindsey. Lindsey, how's it going?
Hey, it's going great. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, absolutely. And before we jump into the episode, Lindsey, why don't you just tell the listeners and viewers a little bit about yourself and your background?
Okay, great. My name is Lindsay. I like long walks on the beach. I'm just kidding. Um, um, so my name is Lindsey Marie. I am 33 years old and I have been a certified personal trainer for about 16 years now. Fitness is the only thing I'm good at. I don't have any other talents or characteristics about me. I got into the bodybuilding industry when I was 16 years old, did my first show in 2010. When I was 17, fell in love with just everything about fitness, wanting to better myself, bettering other people, giving them that spicy New York personality, and, telling people what they need to hear, not what they want to hear.
hmm
After my bodybuilding career ended, I, fell into this deep depression, didn't know what I was without bodybuilding. And then that's when I got into hybrid training and going more the athletic route with staying on the back end side of bodybuilding. And then now getting into being a body recomposition specialist.
Okay, that's a boatload of stuff right there.
I know.
Really good stuff, by the way. But
So
you're
that's what you're focusing now is body recomposition.
Yeah, that's like
That's
what I do
awesome.
for my clients and stuff. But
Okay,
like for myself, I focus on hybrid training.
awesome.
okay. Okay. Actually, since Danny brought that up, I'm just curious. What is that body composition? Can you talk about that?
Yeah, of course. So body recomposition is basically going from mostly body fat into lean muscle. For years, people have told us, like, oh, you can't lose fat and gain
Mm-hmm.
muscle at the same time. You have to do one or the other. You have to lose 50 pounds and then rebuild your body up. But that's not true. It's just people didn't know how to nail the training. And in my personal opinion, for anybody who's 30 and above, like, we all know that our bodies change and things are different. Some people don't have 2 hours to be in a gym. So body recomposition, it takes a little bit more time, but it's something that has longevity for the body.
A lot
Yeah.
more discipline comes with that too, because your window that you have to stay in with your calories and your macros has got to be absolutely perfect for it to work correctly. Yeah.
Yep.
That's awesome though, because like you said, people don't understand that you can do both. Like you said, the old way of thinking is you have to lose all this fat and then start over from ground zero and build the muscle that you want, and that's just not true anymore. Well, it was never true, but everybody's now seeing that that's actually really possible. It just takes that discipline.
Yeah.
That's what it
So
boils down to.
it requires a heavy level of discipline, is what I'm hearing basically from what you shared, Lindsey, is that, you really got to be dialed in. But then you also said for a lot of people over 30, because I think there's sort of the stigma that when, you get over 30 and a lot of people start thinking, oh, I'm getting fat, I'm getting older. So,
Yep.
you
It's
know,
my age. Like
my
Yeah,
that's
age,
it's
such
all
right.
bullshit.
bullshit.
Yeah.
It's all bullshit. It's funny that you say that because honestly, my body at 33 is blows my body at 23 out of the
Yeah.
water, and that was
Same.
like at the height of my bodybuilding career when I was a bikini competitor. I
Mm-hmm.
look back on those photos and I look at myself like, although yeah, I'm in shape, but it's like not sustainable shape. I was doing
Right.
drugs. I was, like really having to do things that like aren't
Yeah.
normal to the average
Right.
person to stay in that type of shape. Where now, if I don't work out for a week, I'm still gonna look the same. Maybe I'll fluctuate and gain like 2-3 pounds, but that's not a fat. It's like water and whatever else. If I decide to go have a cheat meal, I'm not gonna be bloated the next day.
Right.
Like nothing is
Right.
gonna
Right.
happen to me because
Yep.
this is my lifestyle. What I tell people is that when you're trying to focus on like recomping the body, dedicate one full year to yourself, 365 days.
Yeah.
And if you can't do that, then you just don't have any self-respect. That's just really
Right.
what it comes
Well,
down
I
to.
actually I had a group of 3 ladies this morning I did a class with at the gym, and I told them the same thing on a little bit differently because, like, it's that get 1% better each day. And after that
Yep.
365 days, you've gotten 365% better, which is
Hmm.
incredible when you add it all up in the macro instead of looking at it as daily increments of like, this isn't working, this isn't working. And that's the
Yep.
people need to look at the bigger picture from what you said is absolutely perfect way to put it.
Yeah.
You said that when you were talking about your body, Lindsay, is how you seem to have more satisfaction now in your early 30s than you did in your 20s. It's actually kind of ironic because in the triathlete circuit that I'm in, is this that I see 50-year-old people do circles around 25-year-olds, and it fucking blows my mind away. It's like, are you on drugs? Are you taking steroids? It's like, no, to your point, is that you just have it dialed in on what you're doing and you know what you're doing. And like Danny said, just 1% better every day. Just do one thing better every day. And then, like you said, Lindsay, once a year's out, then you look back and like, holy shit, I really dialed in. I'm 365% better than I was a year ago. Um, I'm curious. So, you've been in fitness for a long time, and now you're kind of dialing things in. So, why is this so different for you this time? Like, is there a purpose? Is there a goal what you're doing now than what you were doing 10 years ago?
Yeah, absolutely. Back then, 10 years ago, I was just in a different headspace. I really got
Hmm.
into fitness for all the wrong reasons. It was because I was bullied in high school. I didn't feel pretty enough. I was very insecure about myself. So I was like, oh, okay, well, if I get into bodybuilding and if I lose all this weight, like I'll get attention, I'll get validation, like everything that I needed to just like look within myself. I was looking for other people for them to compliment me, be like, wow, you look great. Wow, this, like, or wow, you're really fit. And like, I
Right.
just needed it for my ego.
Right.
Now, training, I train with purpose and I train with intention. And in a world filled of steroids, peptides, GPL-1s, like, I really want to set the standard for
Right.
women that, like, you do not need to keep taking these bullshit like shortcuts. Like
Right.
everybody just wants a quick fix and solution where it's like, I'm here to show you that if you just got up off your ass and dedicated to yourself as a sign of self-respect, and because you want longevity and a healthy body, a healthy mind, and a healthy spirit, like that you could actually achieve these things without like rushing to all this stupid stuff that everyone wants to do today.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's like you said at the very beginning of your statement, like it's a lifestyle. Like you've
Yeah.
made it an actual
Hmm.
lifestyle. That's what people don't understand. This is not something that you can do Monday through Friday. Like you
Yeah.
live your life this way and you reap the benefits from it, which, like you said, if you want to go have a cheat meal, you can do that and not feel bad about it,
Yeah.
But
Right.
until you get to that point and understand it that way, you're always going to be fighting with yourself.
Absolutely.
I think to your point, Lindsay, is I think male and females in their 20s fall into a state of a complete mind fuck where they do things for the wrong reasons, especially fitness. It's for appearances. Ironically enough, you talked about bullying, which I can relate to also. That was a phase in my life. And I know what that does to self confidence and self esteem. And I think self confidence and self esteem, especially when you're 21, 22, 23, you feel like you've got something to prove to the world. You feel like
Mm-hmm.
you got something to prove to society, to the very people who don't give two shits about what you're doing and why you're doing it.
Yeah.
And then you get
Right.
in your 30s and you're like, what the fuck was I doing 10 years
Yeah.
ago? I
Right.
wasted
Absolutely.
literally most of my 20s just proving shit to people that don't even give a shit, you know? So it's good to hear that you have. That's why I asked that question of what you're doing now and how it's different than what you were doing in your early 20s. I actually had to ask too that you finished 75 hard too, right? And the Live
Yeah.
Hard
I've done
program?
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've done 75-day hard, and it was just like it was challenging. I
Hmm.
wanted to do it because when did I do? I did it a couple years ago, but that was like when everybody and their mother was doing it because like that's like the New Year's thing, right? Like
Right. Yep.
as soon as the
Right.
New Year comes around, that's when you start seeing everybody's
Uh
doing
huh.
Right.
75-day hard and stuff. And then after I completed it, start to finish, then I was like, okay, this might be too extreme for like the average person, and I do understand that because like
Hmm.
you do need to give grace and compassion when people just don't have that type of time, like so I
Right.
decided to come out with like my own of like not half of the work, but like still enough where like you're not beating yourself up if you didn't get outside and do 2 workouts today, you know?
Right, right, right. I get
So
that.
what was some of the takeaways from, just if you think back to, 75 hard, that really helped you, that really stuck with you, especially since you said, what, 2 years ago roughly is when you did it?
Yeah.
So obviously, from 2 years ago, can you remember the one or two or three things that really stuck with you that help you mentally now with what you're doing?
Absolutely. So there's two aspects of it. The one aspect was the constant like fatigue, since it was a lot of kind of working out, and
Yeah.
making sure you hit 2 days of workouts outdoor and indoor. So for me, it was kind of just like, ugh, I don't want to go do this, and like my body's exhausted, and I should just rest. But then it was like, no, girl, get
Right.
up off your ass. Like you made a commitment, you said it out loud, you definitely said it on social media, you definitely posted about
Right,
it. So now
right.
you can't be a hypocrite and then just be like, oh, 74-day hard. Like you can't do that. And then the other aspect of it was like, why am I even doing this? I'm in shape
Right.
and like I don't have to do this to myself. But then it was like, again, like a sign. My biggest thing is a sign of self-respect. Like if I say
Yeah,
I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna go do it.
right.
So it was definitely just locking in that mental toughness and like battling with myself and being like, yeah, you might not have to, but like what a blessing it is that you get to do
Right.
this. So it was definitely a
Yeah.
Yeah.
mindset shift, which now helps me because instead of looking at it like, oh, I have to go to the gym today, it's no, girl, you get to go to the gym
Right.
today.
Exactly. That's that shift right there. I can relate to that
Yeah.
second aspect of it because when I was doing it, I'm like, I do all this shit every day anyway.
Right.
Like, except for like the reading, and like my water may not always be at that high of a level, but like in my brain, I'm like, I can do this. But like you said you're gonna do it, so you got to do it. You know what I mean? And that's just like it's more of like having that integrity of keeping your word to yourself, even if nobody's looking, and I
Yeah,
think that's a good takeaway that people don't realize from it when they finish it. They look at all the hard stuff they did, but they don't realize they just put their mind to something and completed something that nobody thought that you could do or were going to do. So, and that's a huge
absolutely.
part of it. That's a huge confidence builder.
Something that when you guys were talking about 75 hard, Lindsay, when you were talking about, is that, as the saying goes, that the more you do something, the more it becomes second nature. And it's crazy because with 75 hard, like you said, going through it is like there were many days where you just didn't want to fucking do the workouts, right? Because I mean, what's fun about doing 2 workouts per day, drinking a gallon of water, sticking to a diet? Like 99% of people don't do that, right? But then when you go through that process, through the 75 days, and you exit the program, like, holy shit, now it's second nature. Now it's like you do it every day, but you figured out a way of how to actually do it efficiently, how to do it productively, to where it doesn't feel like an enigma like it did before. To where, like, oh,
Because it's a
I gotta.
lifestyle. It
Exactly.
becomes a lifestyle. That's
Exactly.
exactly that's the to me, that's the whole point of it. Is to take
Yeah.
somebody whose lifestyle is not up to par, put them through this hard trial, and now that's their lifestyle, and it's built a completely different person at that point.
Yeah, I totally agree. And also too, like so many studies show that it's 21 days to create a habit. So if you could
Mm-hmm.
stick to
Hmm.
anything for 21 days, it just does become second nature. So I
Right.
always tell people like, yeah, are these things difficult? Yeah, I'm not going to sit here and be like just because I'm a fitness person and be like no and take away from that. Like I'm
Right.
not going to shame you, but if you can stick to something for 21 days, whatever it is, like 21 days that you can dedicate, after that it'll just become one of those things. Like I always tell people, then they're like, oh, I wish I had that dedication, I wish I had that motivation. I'm like, well, stop wishing and get to it, because like if you could
Yeah.
just like, if you
Right.
could just do
Yeah.
it for 21 days, you'll actually be able to just do it for 22, 30,
Right.
75, and then it's like 365. It's just not
Mm-hmm.
rocket science.
Well, and the funny thing is, like you said, when you're doing 75 hard and you get to that 20-day, 21, 22-day mark, something clicks and it's a
Yeah.
completely
Yeah,
different shift in your mindset at that point, and it just becomes second nature. And I don't think, like, you don't notice it consciously, but thinking back on it, there's a difference at that point where you just,
yeah,
and that's
absolutely.
that thing kicking in
Yep.
saying this is just how you do things now, you
Yeah.
Yeah.
know
So one thing that I wanted to talk about, Lindsay, is that you were talking about some of the struggles, with 75 hard, and obviously other struggles with your fitness journey too. But I'm curious to know, like, how did you overcome some of those struggles? Like what was going through your head, mentally, if you can think back 75 hard, even over the last 10 years as you pivoted through your fitness journey, like if you can remember one specific time where you're like, man, I just don't want to fucking do this. Like I don't see purpose in it. Like how did you overcome that mentally?
There's two big times that I can recall like right off the top of my head. I mean, I have several. Like no one's journey
Right.
is, especially like I was 16 years old when I picked up my first like set of dumbbells like in a gym, right? So it's like
Hmm.
I've had a long career of this, but I remember when I was getting out of like my bodybuilding career and I was going through like a self-identity crisis of like who am I without bodybuilding now, because like I got very sick and I wasn't able to do it to compete anymore. I really just had myself and my younger self to rely on. Like I had to lock in mentally and say like, okay, I may not feel like I have a purpose anymore, but like what is my purpose? And I had to dig
Right.
deep.
Right.
And it was for that younger version of me that was like crying out for help that didn't have it. So it's like now my older version can give that help to my younger version of myself. So that
Yeah.
was like one time that I can definitely recall. And now my second one, which this is fresh out of a year ago.
Yeah.
Is turning to God. Like,
Mhm.
if people aren't religious, then this won't like speak to them. But I feel like when you get to like a really low place of your life, whether it's physical, mental, spiritual, like you don't really have anything but God. So for me, it was like I got church, the Bible, and the gym. Like, what am I gonna make of myself with that?
Oh yeah.
Um,
Right.
so that was really like a big turning point, and like God spoke to me and basically told me like get out of California and start over. And that included like starting over with like my body too. Like there had just been a point where I let my body kind of go, and I knew that I wasn't living up to my own potential, and it was like an insult to myself.
I love that.
Wow. That's
I love
awesome.
that. I think so many people actually have several instances in life where, and it's funny because most people tend to turn to God and faith when shit hits the fan, usually,
Hmm.
because you're trying to figure out, like, what the fuck am I doing here? Like, where am I going? Guide me, give me direction, So I'm glad that you went through this phase because you can definitely tell by your energy and your composition that you really dialed in what you want. And that's really powerful, especially when people start getting older. Most people start to think that, oh, I'll just follow what society is doing because
Yep.
society has been doing all of this, so they turned out okay, right?
That's
And
what
what
I'm
I'm
supposed to do. Yeah.
Yep.
exactly, that's what
I
I'm
was them.
supposed to do.
Yeah.
That was me.
Yeah.
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 I think
So
that's a lot of
Absolutely.
people. Yeah, that's a lot of people. They
mhm,
just follow, you know, unfortunately, the majority of people are just followers and they're going to follow because, like you said, they think they're supposed to. That's
yeah.
what this person's doing. That's what I should do. That's what my parents did. That's what their parents did, and so on. And you got to break that cycle at some point and change all of that. And there's the only way to
Right.
do it is to just do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think one of the biggest things is it's also very important with your surroundings. I just felt like in LA, like when I was at the peak of my fitness career, I was just like kind of following protocol of like what I was supposed to be doing. And I
Yeah.
was
Right.
working this job that I worked for 6 years and I did love it. But I was doing it because I thought I was supposed to. I was supposed to work this
Right.
9 to 5 job. I was supposed to work for somebody else. I was supposed to make all this money and then
Yeah.
maybe go open up a gym by myself and all these things. But what I
Right.
realized is like I'm miserable, I'm unhappy, and then my body started to take a toll because I was like consuming my whole life with his business and not my business. And
Right.
then it was like I
Right.
was skipping the gym, I was skipping this, and then like my mental health started to decline. Then it was just like I'm staying in California for what reason? Like financially, like it wasn't a smart decision for me where I could live anywhere with
Right.
Wi-Fi. So it was kind of just like one of those things where, I'm like staring out into the abyss of downtown Los Angeles and I'm like, what am I doing with myself? And I was just like,
Right.
I have the power to change this though. And like, I have
Right.
to do it. If I'm miserable and unhappy, no one is going to save you but
No.
you.
And I
No
don't
one's
know,
coming.
like for me
Yep.
personally, because we met in California, you and I. And for me personally, I found like I'm a very strong-minded person, but I found LA to be a very dark place.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
like if you are not strong in your mind, you will get gobbled up by the darkness of LA because it seems like all this
Absolutely.
glitz and glamour and all this, and it's not. Like there's a
It's
lot of
not.
sadness, there's a lot of darkness going on around you that you got to fight
Yeah.
away from. Like you
Yeah,
get to the beach and you think, oh, this is all so beautiful, and then you turn around and it's all wacko shit.
it's
You know?
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nuts. I always tell people you got to remember, like, LA is great for some people. So like it just wasn't great for me. But what
Right.
I started to realize is like everybody out there is moving out there with the intention basically of I want to become an actor,
Mm-hmm.
this and that. So it's like you're literally living on one giant movie set and everybody's an
That's
actor.
a
So
great
like
explanation.
Yeah.
and
Absolutely.
that's really what it is. And what comes with that is like a lot of dark souls. People get lost out there. People
Mm-hmm.
start doing anything for a dollar. It's very hard to live out there financially, and if like you're going out there with the intention to be like an influencer, an actor or something, you're gonna struggle, right? So it's
Yeah.
like you'll be
Oh
working
yeah.
these dead end jobs. And then there were girls that I knew that they started doing anything for a dollar. They started doing anything to let the someone so to pay for their rent and this and
Right.
that and their lifestyle. And then like at some point I felt the darkness, and I felt like I was a very strong-minded person. I'm born and raised in New York, so it's like,
Right. Yeah.
and I grew up in an Italian household, so it's like, my
Yeah.
standard of like mental toughness is up here, right?
Right.
And like that's why my personality is a lot to handle sometimes. And after a while I started going through this identity crisis in LA and being like, who am I, what's happening, like I
Mm-hmm.
don't even like the person that I'm looking back at in the mirror.
Right.
And
You start to
that's
lose
when I
yourself.
yeah, you do.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
start to lose yourself because you are subjective. It's la la land. So, like, when you
Yep.
surround yourself with other delusional individuals who don't see anything wrong with what's happening, but then, like, as soon as you leave LA and you start to be around normal human beings, or like you leave the country or something, you're like, oh, this shit's not normal.
Right.
This
Hundred
shit
percent.
isn't normal.
A hundred
So that's
percent.
when you have to like do something about it, like for me it was I turned to God, and then it just still felt dark in LA. Like I love the church I went to. Then it was like God told me literally one day, sell everything. Get up
Yeah.
and go.
Yeah.
You got
Yeah.
to go.
Well,
And I
that's
did.
a,
You made a
that's
good
a
decision.
hard that's a
Definitely.
hard shift, Lindsay. That's what you said right there. Most people will never actually try because they've got fear, they've got scarcity, they're afraid.
Mhm.
It's like you said, a lot of people do go to LA because they want to become famous, they want to build a status, right? And that's true, and I think that's great. But the problem with that is you're following a traditional path that's been painted that does
Yep.
not have a definitive outcome. So you're better off sitting down and saying, you know what, here's what I want to do, here's what I want to become, here's who I want to be for myself, not for anybody else, and then you fucking do it. And I think what's happening, since you're an influencer, you're probably seeing a lot of this too, is that now more than ever, the younger generation, even the millennials, are doubling down on figuring out happiness, figuring
Yeah.
out fulfillment, figuring out, and actually we've seen even a decrease in birth rates, decrease in marriages, because more and more people are choosing themselves, and that's great.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you were talking about that, I'm glad to hear that, because a lot of people are too afraid to do that because they don't want
Mhm.
to face the repercussions. So I'm actually curious on hearing on, like, when you were parting LA and moved to Florida and you were going through that entire process, like what was going through your mind? Because there was a lot of uncertainty, I'm sure, right?
What did I just do? Did I
Right.
really just sell all of my stuff and all of my memories from the last 6 years? Did I really just leave my luxury high rise apartment that overlooks all of downtown Los Angeles? Did I really just quit my career? Like, did I make a bad decision? Like, I had
Yeah.
worked at that job for 6 years. My boss had it embedded in my head that he was one day going to sign over to the gym to me, and I was going to own it, and that was the only thing that was keeping me there. That
Wow.
gym like saved my life because it brought me from such a low point of my life, and then I helped cultivate like such a beautiful community, like,
Yeah.
and it brought me so much joy. Like, as much as I didn't love going to work and working for somebody else, like I got to go serve people. I got to go do things that when people made me a part of their story, and I really transformed a lot of lives out there, and it was just
Right.
something that brought me joy, right? So I was like,
Yeah.
wow, now what? And then when I moved to Florida, and I don't have any family down here, like my parents, they're snowbirds, so they come back and forth, but I'm here by myself. I have no friends out here. I have no family. I'm alone in a house, and I have nobody but me, and I don't even like myself. Like, I literally had to sit with the silence of I don't even like who I am. Like, and
Yeah.
and this might sound dramatic to most, but if you get it, you get it. I couldn't even look at myself in a mirror. There was like
I
so
get
many
it.
points where I was like, thank God there's no mirrors in this household except for the bathrooms. And like, I can't like, and I was just feeling sorry for myself. I was feeling miserable. I was feeling
Yeah.
depressed, and I felt like a
Right.
victim. I felt like a victim, and that was a hard mindset for me because I was just like, wait a second, this is not who I am. Like, what is wrong? And then I
Right.
decided to launch a startup company and take a bet on myself. And like, then I started doing like online training, and I went into content creation full time. And I'm like, okay, this is not paying the bills. And then, like I said, I found a church out here, and I
Mm-hmm.
submitted myself to the Bible. I submitted myself to just faith. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
has it completely worked out yet? No. But do
Right.
I know it's going to? Yeah. But if there's
Right.
one thing that it created, it lit a fire under me. And like, then it got me back into like training full time. It got me into like, if I don't like myself, I'm going to learn to love myself.
And fix
Yeah.
what you don't like. So let
Yeah.
me ask you, like when we met in California, you had just moved to California, right? I
Yeah.
think I
That
think I
was my
remember you
first
saying
job.
it because I had just moved there too. Um, what's the difference between how you felt when you first got to Cali versus what you just explained? Because I'm sure they're two completely different feelings.
Yeah. Well, back then I was running away from my old life in New York that I had outgrown. Like I grew up in a place, and it's no disrespect. I feel like this happens all the time. I grew up in Long
Sure.
Island, New York, and the very typical thing is graduate high school, go to a SUNY college, get a degree in business, finance, become a doctor, a lawyer, and then marry your high school sweetheart. You buy a house down the street from your parents, and you just never leave Long Island.
Right.
And that life
Right.
wasn't for me. And it was like my worst nightmare. For some people, it works out great for them. But for me, there was just something that always sat in my soul that said, like, you're destined for bigger and greater things.
Uh huh.
So
Yeah.
that's when I decided, I was like, okay, well, if I can conquer New York, and if I can go work in Manhattan, if I can go work at a celebrity gym, I can go work in LA and survive in LA. So I
Yeah.
moved out there with the mindset of like, I'm going to be a big shot celebrity trainer in LA. I'm going to get all these things. And it was more like egotistic back then. And I was young. So that was like my first time living out on my own. That was like my first time for everything. And I did all the things that I wanted to do, and it was great
Mm-hmm.
for that first time. But that was my mindset shift back then, was like, I'm young, I'm immature, I'm newly single, like I'm just really starting my life now, and I'm going to build this like life that you see online that like you're always jealous of, right? And that's an
Right.
immature mindset, but like whatever, I could face it. And
Yeah.
then now it was, hey, this era of my life no longer serves me, and I'm ready to build something with longevity. I'm ready to not influence people, but to make a difference with people. Like, I
Right.
don't want this like influencer culture that is now. Like, I want
Right.
someone to be like, wow, I'm inspired by her, not I'm
Yeah.
influenced by
Right.
her.
That's a big
Um,
difference.
yeah, there is a big difference. And then now it's like, I want to step into a new era of my life within the fitness industry. I want to be a CEO of a company. I want to actually make difference in people's lives. I don't want to just be known to be a personal trainer or group fitness instructor. I love those things, but they don't define me.
Right.
Right.
So that's really like what my mindset shift was, is like, now I'm ready to step up into the next space. I'm also ready to be a CEO, a wife, and a mom.
Right. That's growth,
That's
is what that is. Like that's exactly what you just described right there is growth.
well, you
Like
said
which is
something,
awesome.
the era that, when you, to Daniel's question too, Lindsay, is just that when you moved to LA, you definitely accomplished the goal, because that was the goal that you had, is to become an aspiring trainer in the fitness space. And you definitely accomplished that goal. So congratulations on that, because that's an
Thank you.
accomplishment, to do that over a 6 year period as well. But most people, and it's funny because in your 20s you have some goals or you want to do something. In your 30s you start to mature. In your 40s you're like, I just don't give a fuck about what society thinks, I'm doing my own thing. In your 50s, God knows what you're doing already in your 50s, right? So
Hey, take it easy.
I knew I was gonna hit a nail with that one. That was no pun intended there by any means, man. But
No, I'm just messing with you.
yeah. So, no, but you're absolutely right, Lindsay, and that was very powerful right there. You said not to influence, but inspire people, because I think, I mean, and you live in this space too, right? Is people are scrolling through Instagram, scrolling through TikTok. They're fucking looking at what somebody's doing. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be just like them. It's like, no, you're
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
not gonna be just like them. You're gonna be you. and you need to
Right.
figure out what you is. And it's kind of crazy because I was talking to someone the other day and I was trying to explain how traditional media has done this for decades. Like way before social media was, is they knew the power of influence. Like if they told you something on the news, most people would believe it. They wouldn't even
Right.
question it because
Right.
they thought that, like you said,
Why
you
would they
know,
wouldn't lie to me?
yeah, they
No.
wouldn't lie
Yeah,
to
they
me,
wouldn't lie to
right?
me. Yeah, exactly.
Bullshit, right?
Right.
So, and even you just mentioned that to your point is that in New York, in Long Island, right, when you lived, you kind of had this predefined path for your life. And I think a lot of people have that also. I think even from a cultural standpoint, and I can kind of relate that being Eastern European, because I kind of had a similar path like that. And I was like, no, I'm not following that traditional path. I'm doing my own thing. So that's very important that you mentioned not influence versus inspiration, because we do need more people to inspire others through faith, through physical, through mental, through spiritual, through financial. We don't need more people who are quote unquote influencers.
Yeah.
Um, so,
It's funny you say that because I actually had a conversation with a kid last night. I had a kid
Mhm.
call me about personal training, and I could tell he was young by talking to him on the phone. And I met him at the gym last night. And when he walked in, I was like, "How old are you?" And he's like, "I'm 15." And I was like, "Okay." I said, "What are you trying to do?" He's like, "Well, I want to lose some of this fat." And I'm like, "Kid, you don't have any fat. You're 15." I said,
exactly.
"Stay
You're
off." My
That's
15
like
years
my
baby
old,
my
bro.
fat.
exact my exact words to him were, "Stay off Instagram, okay? Because
Yeah.
that's not realistic." I said, "You all you have to do is eat food and exercise correctly, and you're gonna build muscle. But you do not have any fat. Like I don't know." And his mom was standing there, and she was shaking her head because he does this all the time. I said, you don't really believe that you're fat, do you?" And he kind
Yeah.
of shook his head. But like that's a thing. I'm like, that's a real
Yeah.
thing. This 15-year-old kid, who's a normal 15-year-old kid, slender, active, thinks he's fat because of what
Yeah.
he's seeing on the internet. And
Yeah.
it's ridiculous.
It's
What I
all a
just said is
lie.
that to your point is what you Danny just said is, and I think you can relate to this too, Lindsay. When I open up my Instagram app and I go to the search tab, is I see like all these videos and pictures with all these fit girls and shit that show up. And when I tap on one of those and I look on the bottom left, it says AI on it. I'm like, of course it's fucking AI. But
Yeah.
to Danny's point
You
is
don't
that
know what's real anymore.
you don't.
You don't. And all these people edit, like, okay, so like my biggest thing is like when I talk to women and when I talk to like younger girls, and like they'll show me like girls specifically like in the fitness influencing space, and I'm like, this girl literally has a BBL and she's sitting here and she's selling you a 30-day body weight squat program to that grew her ass 50 inches. And I'm like, the delusionalism is like so real. And like this is like where I don't like what the fitness industry has become, because then
Yeah.
you get like a young 20-year-old girl who will sit there and spend her last working dollar on buying this girl's program, and she's not even being honest. And like
Right.
this is where like for me the inspiration comes in, where it's like I don't want to, and like this is like a big controversial topic for most people, but it's like I'm not going to be the woman that's like hopped on like all these peptides and the GPL-1s and then being like, okay, but buy my fitness program and my online coaching and all this stuff. And it's like, I'm a liar,
Right.
like I am lying to you and selling you a dream that you could never obtain this body. Whereas
Right.
if right now I'm selling you a real life product, like I'm
Right.
about to launch a fitness app soon. And in my fitness
Mhm.
app, it's a program that I have put myself through. It is a
Right.
12-week body recomposition program that got me to the point where I am at today. It is
Right.
not unrealistic. It is, do you have the same drive and dedication as I do? I got tired of looking at myself in the mirror and thinking like, wow, and nitpicking my body, and was like, girl, you're going to go do something about it. So it's like when
Yeah.
you scroll on social media, I'm just like, okay, this is all good angles. This is all good lighting.
Uh,
Then when you see
yeah.
these girls in person, I'm just like, oh, you don't even look like that.
Now the
That's
lighting.
crazy.
People don't understand the difference lighting can make in something
Oh,
like
yeah.
that. Something as minor as that can change the whole thing.
Well,
They
And
it's
that's that.
Facetune
real.
everything. It's
Yeah.
crazy. I've seen these girls at work. Like I've been at events with girls that like take pictures of us and they'll be like on their phone. I'm like, what are you doing? They're like, I'm just like editing this and like face tuning that. And then before you know it, then I'm like 10 minutes later, like they have a completely different photo. And I'm like,
Oh yeah,
girl, I don't even look
it's
like
so
that.
airbrushed and so
I'm
polished
like,
and all the
I'm like,
lighting
don't do
and
that
stuff.
shit to me. My waist
No.
ain't that small. I'm like, I wish it was that small, but like, please don't lie to people for
Yeah.
me. Like, I'm
Well,
good with like how I
that
look.
level of dishonesty too is like you're pretending
Insane.
to be somebody you're not. Like that's what we're
Yeah.
Yeah.
trying to get away from in all of culture is trying to be
Right.
somebody we're not. Just be you.
Exactly. Exactly.
I don't
But they
get
don't know
it.
how to. They just
No,
don't know
and that's
how to.
sad. It is really
It
sad that they
is.
don't know how to be themselves.
My
You
scariest
said
thing.
two things, Lindsay, actually, that you said ethical and you said faith based. Because I think when you were talking about, like, we're talking about all this AI bullshit that's happening right now, and how most people Photoshop themselves and airbrush themselves, especially in the fitness industry, to look better. Now more than ever, there's an intricate need for, like, just figuring out what it is that you want to be and how you want to be, doing it ethically for the right reasons, not to look better on Instagram and fucking TikTok and Snapchat because that's what everybody else is doing. And ironically enough, that's why all these social networks now have the AI buttons also, because you can't tell the difference between real and fake. And we've
Yeah.
literally crossed over so much that, I mean, you can make a video of yourself with AI and put it on social media, and
It's
people won't know
nuts.
the fucking difference.
It's
Well,
nuts.
everyone cares what everyone
Yeah.
else thinks instead of what they think. I care more
Yes.
about what I think about me than what XYZ thinks about me. And that's the
Right.
problem. It's a disconnect. They're so
Yeah.
worried about what everyone else thinks and not worried about what they think and who they are that they'll
Yep.
do whatever they have to do so people think that they're more than what they really are. And that's the problem.
Yep. It was me. It was me. Like,
Yeah.
loudly and proudly, I could absolutely say that I fell into that. Like, being
Right.
in that culture and that scene in Los Angeles. Again, that's why I say, like, your surroundings are so important. Like, I
Yeah.
don't even recognize that person. I'm going to put this in perspective. So I was on the phone with my little sister the other day, and we were like, kind of laughing at all the Coachella posts of like all these influencers and like how like out of touch they are with society, right? Like, we're in
Yeah.
a fuel crisis right now, and you're putting on your private jet from a brand that like you're here, and like most Americans are actually struggling to even afford gas right now, right? A little tone deaf.
Yeah.
um
Super
so
Yeah.
I'm
tone deaf.
laughing to my
Oh yeah.
sister, and I'm just like, oh my God, I can't even believe these videos yet. I was like, I'm so happy to like just like not be in like that type of influencing space anymore, like where I even want those things. She
Right.
literally goes, yeah, because you were just as bad. Like, you were so out of touch with reality. She was like, it was horrible to watch. And I go, oh my God, really? And she goes, oh yeah, like, but I wasn't able to tell you that
Coachella
back
is,
then. She was
and you
like, I
were,
wasn't able to tell you that.
yeah,
And I wasn't even going to Coachella like that. But like being caught
Right.
up with like half of
yeah,
all these people, right? Like, again, like I said earlier, like when you're surrounded in a fish
hmm
pond like that, like you don't think there's
Uh-huh.
anything wrong with it. I didn't think there was anything wrong with it. My sister
It
was like,
was
you just
normal.
wanted to be, yeah. She's like, you wanted to be everywhere. If you weren't at this event, this there, here, here, here. She was like, it was crazy for a while. And I was like, damn, well, thank you for telling me now.
yeah.
Yeah, you
No,
were everywhere. I mean,
Yeah,
you're a little bit of everywhere, that's for sure.
you're right
everywhere.
about the influencers though in Coachella, actually, Lindsay, because to Danny's point too, yesterday I had a convo with a client of mine who was actually telling me, because at one point in time he used to hang around with like some of the most successful entrepreneurs out there, like they got the private jets and shit and all that. But he was telling me some shit that like I had never heard. To your point, he said, believe it or not, when they were doing all their video and stuff online, they would literally go to a set that they literally had a fucking plane that was
Yeah,
Hmm.
propped.
yeah.
Like they
Yeah.
take pictures inside of it and they post it on
Hmm.
social media. That fucking rent
FD
Lambos
Studios
and
in Los
shit. And
Yes,
Angeles.
it
like,
happens all the time.
FD Studios. That's where
Yep.
they go.
is
Yeah.
that, yeah. So um I was thinking about that. I'm like, people will fucking believe anything on social media. I swear to
They will.
God. Like they'll see you in a plane, they'll see you in a fucking Lambo, right? And they think you're living your best life, but then in reality, it's like a complete polar opposite. And
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that's why there's so much stress and depression that's going on right now with the younger generation, because they're trying to live up to a fake standard that doesn't
Hmm.
It's
even
keeping
fucking
up with the
exist.
Joneses to the 10th power is exactly what it is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because let's
It's
face it,
Yeah.
like, we probably all know very successful people, right? So it's like, I also
yeah,
don't
Mhm.
want to take away from people who are successful
sure.
and built their success and they're
100%.
able to have these luxuries, right? The
Right.
difference is they're not posting all of their luxuries in your face. They're
Right.
just doing it. Like, they'll just
Right.
call you and be like, hey, you want to meet for lunch? Meet me at Van Nuys Airport. And then they're taking you on their jet somewhere. But they're
Right.
not
Right.
like, announcing it to social media like, hey guys, today we're gonna be doing this. It's like, oh shit, he has fuck you money. Like he has, excuse my language, but it's like
Yeah.
I know people like that where I'm just like,
Yep.
you just blew $30,000 shopping. Yeah, I didn't even think twice about it. And it's like,
Right.
but they're not out there like
No.
making it this theatrical thing. And like that's like the level I strive to be at. Like I
Right.
want to be that successful that like I have that type of money. But like what I found was is like I said, I didn't like myself. So I was trying to prove to other people like my luxury lifestyle that I had in LA. I was
Yeah.
constantly showing my apartment. I was constantly showing all these events I was going to. And it's like, why was I even doing that for other people? Like,
Right.
what did I
Right.
have to
Right.
prove?
Right.
For what?
Well,
Since
and
we
you know,
have
and when you do it that way, like it's really hard to get. It's not genuine, so it's never going to be what you want it to be. If that makes sense, you know what
Absolutely.
I'm
right.
trying to say?
Right. Since we have a little bit more time left, a couple of things I wanted to touch upon actually with you, Lindsay, is identity and self-respect. Because I know that was a big evolution in your
Yep.
life. So let's spend a couple minutes talking about what that looked like for you. So you went from I'm moving to LA, I'm going to be an aspiring fitness instructor in this gym, living on a high rise to fuck this place, I'm moving to Florida. Let's talk about the identity and self-respect that was going on there.
Honestly, like I just realized, like I said, I was living a lifestyle that just wasn't me anymore. And I needed to be humbled. Like God really needed to strip me from my whole entire life to put me where I'm at right now and put me on a shelf for a year. It's what I call my waiting season because
Yeah.
I just knew deep in my heart that I wanted more for myself and I wanted better and I wanted to stop playing victim and I wanted to just show myself that and show myself a sign
Mm-hmm.
of self-respect of if you're unhappy in a job that you don't want to be in, you're not stuck there. No one has a gun
Right.
to your head and you can leave.
Yep.
If you want to build a business, you absolutely can build a business. It is 2026. We all have the same resources of free things on the internet. There
Yep.
is ChatGPT who could literally write you a whole entire business plan. Like the only difference is, do I respect myself enough to get myself out of this hole or do I not and I'm going to stay conformed and I'm going to stay miserable and complain for
Mm-hmm.
the rest of my life. And that
Yeah.
was really what it came in for me was there's things I don't like, so what am I going to do about it? So now sitting in this house and spending a lot of time with myself, it taught me self-respect. It taught me how to like myself. It taught me not how to be a people pleaser. It taught me that
Mm.
I have the power to build this business and I have the power to be something great. I'm either going to take the tools that God is now providing me or I'm not.
Well,
That's awesome. Great
the thing
answer.
says you were talking there, Lindsay, and again, congratulations on going through this journey because
Thank
most
you.
people, it's not that most people are incapable, they're unwilling to
They
do
give
that.
up. They
It's
They,
gave up
scary.
on that journey. They gave up fucking 4 years ago. You know, the
Yeah.
average person. You know what
yeah,
I mean?
It's scary. It's not easy. Like I know right now me talking about it, like it's just not easy. Like I have days where I sit here and I cry in silence and I'm like, what did I do? Like I'm missing out on my whole entire life. Like I'm 33, I'm newly single, I'm not a mom, I don't have a house, I don't have a white picket fence or
yeah,
a husband.
yeah,
I don't have like a job right now because I'm, doing just like online coaching and I'm doing like social media and I picked up a couple hours at an F45 over here just to like, keep my head above
sure,
water while I'm building an entire startup company. So
Sure.
I'm not going to sit here and make it seem like it's so glamorous. Like I definitely have my days.
Right.
Yesterday I was having a mental breakdown about all these things and like now today I'm just like, yeah, life is great. Like, but that's the,
yeah,
the the beautiful part of the journey is that you
Yep.
get to make these choices. You could either sit in your misery or you could get up off your ass and do it. Like this is the
Right.
same thing with the gym. You could
hmm
either sit there in the mirror and tell yourself I'm fat every single day, or you can get your ass to the gym and put in the hard work.
And fix
That's
it.
it.
Well, that's
Yep.
like with anything. To your point in life, it's not just fitness. It's you. Like you said, you were talking about mirrors, right? Is most people look in the fucking mirror every morning. They don't like what they see. They don't like
Nope.
physical what they see, and every day they wind themselves up and they say, "I want to go to a dead end job. I don't have enough money to put gas in the tank. I don't have enough money to pay my mortgage. This and this and this and this." But they still keep doing the same shit over and over again. And as the saying goes, insanity is doing the same shit over and over, expecting different results. And
Hmm.
that's just it. And a lot of people, because we talk about this in the Iron Standard Facebook group, we talk about it and we see people where kind of still struggle with it. It's like, listen, You've got all the power. God gave us free will for a reason. Fucking exercise it. Okay?
Yep.
Right.
Do whatever the fuck you want to do. Nobody's going
Do
to
the
stop you.
thing.
Do
Do
the thing.
the thing. I don't care what
Exactly.
the thing is. Just fucking do it.
Yeah,
Just
just
do it.
You
fucking
know,
do it.
you may fail. You're probably gonna fail, but at least you did
Yeah.
it. Now you know what not to do, and you can continue and go to do till you get it
Right.
right. If you're doing it and not failing, you're not doing anything.
Well, you're
Absolutely.
gonna fail. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because most people
That's how you
won't get
learn.
things right.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's how
That's
you
how you
learn.
learn.
And you
That's how you
learn.
grow, and that's the ultimate thing is to grow.
Exactly. Exactly. So, yeah, I mean, this is just it is that I appreciate you sharing all these details in your evolution and your journey because there's never enough people out there in the world who are talking about their journey, the evolution, finding their purpose, finding their true happiness. And, it doesn't matter how old you are, honestly, as long as you're alive and you just woke up, you still get another fucking day to do whatever the
Yep.
fuck you want to do. And I think now more than ever, people need that because, like you said, the lavish over here, someone's living a lavish lifestyle, and most Americans can't fucking, spend enough money on gas or don't have enough on gas, let
Right.
alone buy grocery, which has just skyrocketed 300% over the last couple of years in terms of inflation, right? But be grateful for what you do have and what you get to do. So, with that being said, I know we could keep going on and on, and I definitely appreciate you sharing about your journey, how you've evolved and found something that you're really, really happy about that's really worth holding on to. And before we wrap up the episode, can you tell everybody how can they connect with you on social media so they can stay in touch?
Absolutely. Every single one of my social media platforms is at Lindsey Marie Fit. Everything that I do
Okay.
is Lindsey Marie Fit. That's
Are
like
you
my
on
branding.
Facebook? Because I couldn't find you.
Yeah, I am. I actually just started a new Facebook page.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, it's Lindsey Marie online coach.
Cool.
Awesome.
Well, I'm super glad that you did this. Like, I know, like, we haven't talked to each other and since we met, years ago. So it's really cool to interact this way for, this being after this much time gone by. So
Absolutely. We
I
could
like
talk
what
all
you're
day.
doing. Yeah,
Thank you.
definitely,
I
for sure.
appreciate it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I just, I'm always one of those people that like God just makes no mistakes when he places people in your life, and that's why you learn to like everyone and trust no one
yeah,
because you never want to just like
100%.
do people wrong and stuff like that. And look, now all these years later, like we connected those couple of times at the gym, and then now like full
Right.
circle moment, like it's just like coming back around. So it's just
Super cool.
thank you guys. Yeah, thanks for
Yeah,
having me and thinking of me. I really
absolutely.
appreciate it.